This is Professor Double Double. There is somebody watching me right now is very sad, unhappy, dispirited, hopeless, does not know where to turn. There's somebody watching me right now. All he or she wants is happiness, how to be happy. A couple of days ago, I was, being silly. I made a small video and it was seen by thousands, I would say 100,000 or maybe 1 million of people. It went viral. The number one question I keep on getting is, Prof Double Double, how can I be happy like you? You are very, very happy. How can I be happy like you? The truth is that real happiness is happiness which is shared. Happiness must be able to infect. Happiness must be able to inject other people. The problem with we human beings is that we try to find happiness in places, careers, mansion, cars, people, travel, and other things. That is not happiness. Today, I would like to share my 3 foundational principles of happiness. I'm not a pastor because I am with sin. I am not a motivational speaker. I can't even talk a lot. But growing up, I have always realized that one of the key ingredients my single mother planted into us was, and it still is, we must always be happy regardless. So we, the Kumoji family, we have an innate sense of happiness. Don't tell me I know what it is to be in a rock bottom. I was raised in a poor home. I was raised in a house that we had to eat once a day. I was raised in a house that during lunchtime in school, I would run 2 miles to go home, and I would ask Mom, can I eat some lunch? Mama will look at me and say, my son, there is no food. I will gulp 2 cups of water, and that time the sun is at its zenith, very hot in the African weather. I will sprint back to school on my empty stomach. So I know what it is to be down. I know what it is without hope. I know what it is to be helpless. I know what it is to fail an exam. I know what it is to be refused a visa. I know what it is to pray for that single child in a marriage and you will not have it for months, for years. I know what it is to wake up in the morning, you know you are unemployed, there's no paycheck is coming to you. But you must be happy. One of you, somebody looking at me right now, and as you are watching this video, I tell you this time that you are richer than the man who died yesterday with billions and billions and millions of dollars left in his account. Yeah. If you can breathe, you can see the sun today, you are better off than the person who died yesterday with millions of dollars in his own account. The very first formula to happiness is simple. You must be content. What is content? Content is a state of mind where an individual believes that what he has is the best, regardless. Now, I'm not saying that you should be lazy and say, oh, Prof Double Double say I should be lazy, I should be content even though I have failed that exam. I should be content even though my business is failing comparatively to all my competitors. I should be content even though I'm living in an apartment and my friends are living in a mansion. No. Content is ability to look into your own plate, believing that what is on your plate is the best. You see, the problem with a lot of us is that the plate in front of us is full. but we move our two eyes to look into other people's plate. That's the problem with us. That's where we are not content. So the very first principle to happiness is that you must be content. 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 Regardless. Now the second formula to happiness, I call it the brother or the sister to the first formula. Do not envy no one. Guys, do not envy no one. We human beings, we are born with distinct qualities and characteristics. Some are big, some are handsome, some are plump, some are handsome, some are nice, some are tall, some are short, some can run 100 meters and make 100 million, some can run 1,000 meters, some are ingenious. Remember that all the fingers are not equal. There is no need to live on this world and envy no one. Enviousness breeds contempt, hatred, jealousy, and all those evils of antagonism, backbiting, fight, anger. You cannot be happy if you envy people. I do not know how much I can explain the word or the principle of not envy no one. Do not envy. That's the second principle to happiness. The first is content. The second one is do not envy no one. Content and do not envy, they are brothers and sisters. They work hand in hand. When you are content, you will not envy no one. The very final principle, which I call the mother of all principles to happiness, and I say that the first and second principles are born in the womb of the third principle. The third principle is very simple. All is vanity, guys. You see, we live in this world that we would take something to somewhere. The president of the United States of America currently, Donald Trump, will not take his riches to anywhere. When he dies, of course, he will be inherited by his children. They will also not take his riches anywhere when they also die from this earth. The president of Ghana will not take his presidency to anywhere. The CEO of GM, Walmart, the Waltons, Bill Gates will not take it anywhere. They will leave it right here. They will leave it right here, guys. Let me tell you a quick story about the principle of vanity. Growing up in Africa, many things piqued my interest. I asked a lot of questions. At a very young age, I realized that there was this man who was considered as a very wealthy man. And as I inquired a lot, I realized that yes, he was very wealthy. He was a contractor. He had many houses where he had a contract. From Niger all the way to Côte d'Ivoire to Burkina Faso. He was even rumored that he had a house in London, America. And in that area that I grew up, it's not an embellishment. I'm sure he had about 15 houses. These are not just ordinary houses, mansion. So I asked my mom, Mom, who is the owner of this house? My mom, told me his name. And I met him once, not close. I met him, I saw him from afar those days. So I used to wonder, how will one person have all these houses like this? I heard that he likes it. He's somebody that he likes to build houses where he can. So I left to school. Finally, I came to the United States of America. A couple of years ago, I went to Ghana, and I asked of that man. To my dismay, I was heard that he died way back. So, you know, I was driving in town, and I saw one of his houses. Very dilapidated, dusty, the place slovenly. And I went to the other house. The houses was deserted. I went to another house, desolate. Nobody was in the house. He did not take it to anywhere, guys. He did not. All is vanity. He did not take it to anywhere. Those houses are still in town. Not a single human being is living in one of them. Guys, that is vanity. So growing up, my single mother imbued into us the spirit of content, the spirit of not to envy no one, and the spirit to always remember at the back of your mind, of your head, that in whatever we do on this earth, our careers, our mansions, the energies that we exert towards accumulation of wealth, materializing our dreams, one day we'll realize that they are all vanity. Look, the guy who invented the famous Apple phone, iPhone. Me, I don't buy iPhone. I think it's too sophisticated for me and very expensive. Steve Jobs. History has recorded that he died a miserable death. This guy was a billionaire. And I can tell you again, I want to reiterate, when you are watching this video now, believe that you and I, we are richer than Steve Jobs, who died as a billionaire. Why? We have life.